Today, I am going to share something that will help you transform your relationships with other people, romantic relationships, friendships, business relationships, by you working on a particular relationship within yourself, within your own psyche. It's a hot topic right now, the balancing of the masculine and the feminine, and toxic masculinity, toxic femininity, um, all of the buzzwords around this, and lots of incredible memes on Instagram about how we become more empowered as women. And what a lot of people are missing is that we all have masculine and feminine energies, and a big part of our role here in our self-work, in our self-discovery, in our inner work, is to integrate the masculine and the feminine within us, to balance the masculine and the feminine within us, to embody, to shape. So this is particularly important to me right now because I have some clients who are going through breakups, looking for relationships, starting businesses, and even in my own life, I am in a particular point in my own journey where I'm really being called to work with my masculine and my feminine. Just because I'm a woman, it doesn't mean that I just work with my masculine or just work with my feminine. I have to work with both, because we have been conditioned, and everybody's conditioning is different based on societies, cultures, family beliefs. So everybody has a different kind of view on the masculine and the feminine. And this is why shadow work is so important, because you're always projecting your unconscious beliefs out there. And what better to project onto than other people? So you are projecting your conditioned view of the masculine and the feminine onto other people based on the relationships that you had with your caregivers, parents when you were younger, how your views of masculine and feminine were shaped. So you're projecting that, and then you're attracting that back into your life, maybe through romantic relationships, but also it goes further than that, because you also have that energy within you. You're projecting what you are, and whilever you're projecting it, you're not using that energy. So I just want to touch on some realizations that I've had through my own experiences on what the masculine and the feminine are. The feminine, I'll start with, is not just soft and flowy. She's also wild and chaotic, and yes, emotion. The feminine is emotion, is energy, is life force energy. The energy that makes the tide go in and out, that's the feminine. The feminine, she is the tide. The masculine isn't just big and strong, and no, the masculine is also a presence. The masculine is stability, stillness. The masculine is consciousness. And you can't have life force, you can't have material reality without consciousness, without the force that holds it. And the material is the mother, the immaterial, the spirit, is the father. So this is the two work together. And we say masculine and feminine because that we don't really know another word for it, and so we have to label it to make sense of it. But my experience has been, in a recent plant medicine journey, discovering that the feminine is the life force, is the creative energy. She is creation, and that is a better word for her, life force. And then the masculine is consciousness, is power, is the container for the creation, because they don't work without each other in this dimension. So then just bringing it back down to kind of human level and why we need to balance these energies, because so I'm going to come at this from from me as a woman in a female body, born a woman in a female body, and I have been conditioned, like a lot of women in the modern world, to be in my masculine a lot. So I am very business driven. I am very much about kind of physical exercise, staying like very motivated. And I notice this, especially with women who have businesses or are in careers, we kind of go one way or the other. So we kind of people kind of go more towards the left brain or the right brain, the creative or the logical, emotion, intuitive, or, the thinking mind. And so the intuitive is the feminine, the emotional is the feminine, the energy, the masculine is the drive, is the power, is the will. And so you kind of are in one way or another. Now, women in this, or in my experience and in my clients' experiences, we've been conditioned that we need to be our own protector. We need to find our own way in the world. And this is kind of caused an imbalance. And this is because of what our parents showed us. My mum was a career woman, and I didn't spend a lot of time with my dad. So I have so that conditioning has been placed onto my view of the masculine, and the masculine energy that is within me has been created from this space. So there is so much more to the masculine than my projection and my conditioning. And what we're asked to do is understand our own conditioning and perception of the masculine or the feminine, both, and the shadow that we're projecting out into the world. You can easily see this because take 3 romantic partnerships that you have had in the past, or that, some kind of, or one that you have right now, and list out 3 things about the person of the opposite sex that you admire. And then, or that annoy you, like if it's an ex, like that trigger a strong emotional response in you, and just to have a look at where that has been conditioned into you, or what the opposite of that is, and how you fit into that, because that will show you some of your conditioning. And when you go through shadow work, you're able to undo that conditioning of how you believe the masculine is, what you've been shown the masculine is, what you've been shown the feminine is. A big one is that we're told that the feminine is too much. If she's emotional, she's crazy. She's just, you don't know how. Like, I have ex-boyfriends who are like, oh yeah, the psycho ex, the crazy ex, just because she was fucking emotional. Like, I find it, well, it's just ignorance, and that's okay, because that's how we've been brought up. We've been brought up to be ignorant of the 2 powerful forces that we couldn't survive without. So, and so much disrespect. We've been brought up to basically be against each other, and yeah, hyper independence, or can I depend on him? If I depend on him, am I codependent? Chaos. But the feminine men have been conditioned to believe that an emotional woman is crazy, is psycho, and that's not true. She just feels her emotions, but also in the same kind of breath, the woman doesn't know how to deal with those emotions. She's scared to deal with those emotions because she'll be labeled as crazy. So you can see how it can get like, that's the shadow, the conditioning, that needs to be seen out there in the world. Whatever strong emotional triggers of the opposite sex come up, and the same sex, masculine and feminine, we have both. If you're embodied in a female form or a male form, you're probably more likely to be that way. And then you will project the wounded masculine or feminine onto the opposite sex. And you will act from that place within yourself. So you have to integrate those shadow parts so that you can act from, so that you can take the projection off the archetype of the masculine and the feminine. You will start to see the divine masculine and the divine feminine, which without the shadow work becomes an ego identity, not a truth. Like somebody can very much look like they're in their divine masculine, but or divine feminine, but it can still be from a place of ego persona, and not ego as in showing off. It's an unconscious thing. So yeah, people often get ego and pride mixed up, and that's okay. But the ego is prideful, or can be prideful. So the masculine, so we get the truth of the two entities, which are life force and consciousness, and then the masculine becomes the safe container for the feminine to be creative, to be, and it doesn't mean, and it just, like, masculine and feminine do not, the words do not do these two forces within us justice, but we get to reclaim then the truth of these archetypes of life force and consciousness, and think about those two powers coming together and what you could create with that. So this is why everybody must integrate the masculine and feminine energies, or uncover the shadow of your masculine and feminine conditioning, integrate the shadow, and then reclaim the power of the archetypes of life force and consciousness, of love and power, of feminine and masculine, anima and animus, muse and will, like, and allow the two to come together and just see what you can create, because then you'll create, this is the true self, this is wholeness. And while ever we're longing for the masculine or the feminine outside of us, we're not fully accepting that it's within us and finding it within us. We can build relationships with our masculine and our feminine sides. This is a big part of the work that I do. We do shadow work, and then when we've cleared some of that shadow, made some, like, have some have it in the conscious awareness, we're able then to start working with the anima and animus, these two forces, and really begin to create, because you have both life force and consciousness on your side with no projection. So signs of an imbalanced masculine would be like, and this again is in if you're a man or a woman, an imbalanced masculine is hyper independent, like wants to control everything, tired, close to exhaustion, burnout, avoidance of emotion. I think this is the biggest one that we see in this day and age, is avoidance of emotion, because we don't know how to deal with emotion. And then the imbalanced feminine is like emotional overwhelm, which can also lead to burnout, because we're not facing the emotions, a lack of boundaries, because, like, think about the ocean and water. So if the water is the feminine, if she doesn't have a boundary, if she doesn't have a container, she's gonna overflow, and that causes chaos. And the damsel in distress archetype, because we've been conditioned to believe that a man is going to come and save you because you're not strong enough to do it on your own. But, well, what if the knight in shining armor was within you, and you get to, like, this is a big one that I see as well, women waiting to be saved by a man or by money or by a job or by something else, because there's an imbalance of the feminine, and you're not accepting that you have masculine and feminine within you, and you can use those two forces together. And then indecision, so like not being able to make a decision. So both of these, the imbalanced masculine needs to bring in how to understand his emotion, how to be in emotion, find safety in emotion, rest, be in the yin energy, the yin and the yang, be more creative, less control, more creativity, and then learn to ask for help and depend and rather than be in a state of hyper independence, be in community, support each other. And then because the feminine, is the feminine is social, but the man is very solo. So it's very like the masculine and feminine, yeah, very kind of, they are opposite energies. We need the light and the dark, the yin and the yang for this world to even exist. And then the woman, the feminine, sorry, needs a container. She needs a safe container to allow all of that emotion to flow, to not be walked all over, to not overgive, to not be a people pleaser, to know that you have the power within you. No one's gonna save you. Just end of. No one is gonna save you. So that know that you're your own savior. And then the ability to know this is my intuition. This is the decision I'm going to make based on my truth. Make that decision and stick to it. So this is, you can see where the two energies need each other in order for us to be a balanced human. And can you imagine this world with like a world full of balanced humans who are in their wholeness and not their fear? That would be a magical place. So this changes your external relationships because you're fulfilling the two energies within you and you're not requiring that of another person. So you're also going to meet a person in their wholeness. When you bring the two energies within you into sacred union, that's when you can find sacred union out there, because you're not coming from a place of longing. You're not coming from a place of needing. You're not coming from like the attachment styles kind of probably don't really exist, because you have that sacred union within yourself, and you will attract somebody who is in their sacred union too, because you attract who you are. You attract your energy. You don't attract what you want. So you attract somebody who is also in a similar energy, who's going to mirror back to you what you need to learn about yourself, what you need to heal and integrate within yourself. Because that's how this kind of beautiful world of projection, the world is a reflection of you, works. So how you can start integrating them is notice which energy is dominant, where you're having the most kind of trigger points at the moment. If you're going through a breakup, if you're just starting to, if you're actively dating, or if you're just even just in a nice, happy, settled relationship, or if you're starting a business. As a woman starting a business, notice where you need the masculine container, boundaries, ability to, I want to talk about money. So the ability to create abundance and allow that to flow. And then from the feminine place, you receive it, rather than like the feminine is the negative space, so the receive, and the masculine is the positive, so the give. So so you kind of, the masculine is give and the feminine is the receive. So balancing that in business and in your career, you need to give your inner feminine space to express. She needs to express. She is creation. She is manifest reality. She needs to express. And the masculine needs a role in guiding and holding. The masculine needs to be the container, and the feminine needs to be the expression. So whatever that looks like within you. And then to kind of get into your feminine energy and lovely practices, dancing. In your masculine energy, a lovely practice is silent meditation. And you can call in archetypes to help you, Shakti, Shiva. Even just, there are so many amazing meditations on here to help you talk to the anima or the animus, whichever one. I recommend you work with them both. They'll both show up differently within your psyche, and they'll come from the unconscious mind, and you can begin to build a relationship with them, and it will change your internal world, which in turn will change your external world. This is some of the most powerful work that I will ever do with my clients, that you will ever do with yourself, because this is what's going to change your life. This, in bringing these two together, is what's going to change your life. But to start this work, you need to do the shadow work first. So if you're interested in a really powerful 30-day journey of shadow work and dream work, I have an amazing shadow and dream work bundle, Illuminate the Shadow, to help you start to make the unconscious conscious. And in it, there is a space specifically speaking to the masculine and the feminine, and relationships and money and health, and how the shadow is kind of holding you back in all of these places. So you can work through this bundle and begin to see like where you're out of balance in the masculine and the feminine, and what you need to reclaim and integrate. I hope that you found this helpful. It's a big subject to cover. So if you have any questions, please pop them in the comments and I will respond to you personally. And hit the thumbs up button and the subscribe, and I will see you next week.